What if I told you that the city once known as the entertainment capital of the world is slowly pricing itself out of existence? A place that was once about freedom, lights, and luck, now defined by fees, fine print, and frustration. Las Vegas, the desert oasis built on cheap rooms and endless fun, has transformed into a playground that only the wealthy can truly afford. It wasn't always this way. For decades, Las Vegas sold a simple promise. Anyone, from the high roller to the road tripper, could come here and live large, if only for a weekend. Rooms were cheap, parking was free, and buffets piled high for just a few bucks. The illusion was perfect. The house might win, but you always felt like you had a shot. But somewhere along the line, that promise was replaced by something colder. The neon still shines, the fountains still dance, but behind the glitter, a quiet greed began to spread, a business model designed not to delight, but to drain. It started small. A few resort fees slipped onto bills around the early 2000s. At first, no one cared. 10 bucks here, 15 there. Then came parking charges, convenience fees, and energy surcharges. By 2016, even longtime visitors noticed the shift. The free perks that made Vegas legendary, the buffets, the valet parking, the little luxuries, were vanishing. Imagine booking what looks like a $100 room online, only to check out with a $180 bill after taxes and mandatory amenities. That's not vacation math, that's manipulation. And it's not just a few hotels doing it, it's practically the norm. According to the Federal Trade Commission, resort fees now rake in hundreds of millions annually for Las Vegas properties. So, what exactly do you get for that extra 50 bucks a night? Wi-Fi that struggles to load an email, a gym pass you'll never use, and maybe, if you're lucky, a lukewarm bottle of water. What was once a friendly illusion has become a full-blown con game. And it's having consequences. UNLV's Center for Business and Economic Research reports a steady decline in mid-tier hotel occupancy since 2023. Families and budget travelers, the visitors who filled the slot floors and dinner tables midweek, are disappearing. A bachelor party from Canada even went viral last year after canceling their trip, saying, "We'll just go to Mexico. At least though the price is real." That's not just a bad review. That's a red flag for an entire industry. Empty hotel rooms mean fewer gamblers, fewer tips, and fewer jobs for the people who built this city's reputation for hospitality. Vegas isn't just losing tourists, it's losing the most valuable asset called trust. And then came the breaking point: parking fees. For decades, casinos lured drivers from California and Arizona with the simple promise of free parking. The logic was brilliant. Why charge someone to leave their car when the real money was inside waiting to be spent? But that all changed when major resorts began charging $15, $25, even $50 per day for parking. Locals swore they'd never return to the Strip. Tourists felt insulted before they even made it to the casino floor. Yet the policy stuck, and the fees kept rising. Data from the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority shows regional drive-in traffic has plummeted since 2019, with added costs listed as a top complaint. The irony? By charging people to park, Vegas actually drove them away. But the greed didn't stop at the valet stand. Across the Strip, restaurants began quietly adding concession recovery and service administration fees. Extra charges of 4% to 8% slipped onto checks, even at self-service counters. A 2024 survey by the Las Vegas Review-Journal found that over 60% of tourists felt misled by surprise add-ons during their visit. A burger might cost $18 on the menu, but $24 after fees and taxes. It's not the money itself that hurts, it's the feeling of being tricked. Las Vegas used to thrive on transparency. You knew your $1.99 shrimp cocktail was exactly $1.99. That honesty built loyalty. But now, visitors describe the experience like death by 1,000 cuts. Every meal, every ticket, every drink feels inflated by a hidden hand. Economists even have a name for this: friction cost fatigue. It's the exhaustion that comes from being nickel and dimed until you simply stop spending. And Vegas, once the city of spontaneity, now feels like a place where every impulse comes with a surcharge. It doesn't end with food or parking either. Walk into a casino, win a few bucks, and try to withdraw cash from an ATM. The fee? $8.99. Some machines even hit $10.99 per withdrawal. If you're lucky, your bank will only charge another $5 on top of that. Pulling out $200 could cost nearly $20 in fees, triple the national average. In a city designed to make spending easy, even access to your own money now costs extra. Casinos used to be proud of their efficiency. You spend your cash freely because it felt fun, safe, and fast. But when every transaction feels like a scam, the thrill disappears. Regular visitors have caught on. Message boards and travel forums are full of warnings now. Bring cash, or get robbed by the ATM. And perhaps the saddest part? Many of these new normal charges aren't even making the visitor experience better. They're not improving the rooms or adding new attractions. They're just padding quarterly profits and stockholder reports. Behind the curtain of neon, Vegas's corporate structure has changed dramatically. Where family-run casinos once competed to outdo each other in generosity, today's strip is dominated by publicly traded giants. Their mission isn't to entertain, it's to extract. As one former casino executive put it, "We traded loyalty for line items." It's a haunting quote, and a brutally honest one. The result is visible everywhere. Once crowded buffets now sit empty, replaced by food halls charging $40 for a burger and fries. Where there used to be three-star diners serving midnight steak and eggs for $7.99, now there are overpriced gastropubs with $25 omelets. Visitors used to come for the deals, the shows, the memories. Now they come once, get stung by sticker shock, and don't return. A UNLV study found visitor satisfaction on the Strip has dropped 22% in the past 5 years, a stunning fall for a city built entirely on repeat customers. And here's the twist. Even as tourism slows, prices keep climbing. Hotel rates have surged 24% since 2019, even though overall occupancy has dropped from 95% to just 85%. The Mirage is gone. The Tropicana is being demolished. Yet somehow, the remaining hotels are charging more than ever for less than before. Logic doesn't apply when greed is in charge. Vegas's entire economy is built on an illusion that volume can fix everything. But the equation has changed. You can't bleed every guest dry and expect them to come back. And as the costs rise, the charm fades. What used to feel magical now feels mechanical, a city running on autopilot, chasing profits instead of passion. But the city of lights is still glowing, but it's burning from the inside out. The decline of Las Vegas isn't just about money, it's about people. The dealers, servers, and performers who once turned every visit into a story now find themselves replaced by screens, apps, and automation. What used to feel personal now feels programmed. Imagine paying $500 a night for a strip hotel only to carry your own bags, check in through a kiosk, and talk to a chatbot instead of a concierge. In the name of efficiency, entire departments have vanished. Bell desks at mid-tier resorts are gone, concierge desks sit empty, and the once famous buffets run with a skeleton crew. Guests who once felt like VIPs now bus their own tables and refill their own drinks at $60 buffets. The math doesn't add up. Higher prices, less service, no soul. Hospitality used to be Las Vegas's middle-class backbone. Those jobs built neighborhoods, sent kids to college, and gave the city its heartbeat. But every self-check-in screen and automated customer care portal means one less paycheck. As positions disappear, the city that once promised opportunity is quietly hollowing itself out. Locals see it first. A bartender who once served the high rollers now works 2 part-time gigs. A former room attendant drives for ride shares to keep the lights on. These stories don't make the billboards, but they define modern Vegas more than the neon ever did. Meanwhile, the tourist experience grows colder. The thrill of chatting with a dealer, the camaraderie around a craps table, gone. Digital terminals now line casino floors, one dealer overseeing dozens of screens. To management, it's efficient. To gamblers, it's lifeless. You're no longer playing the game. You're feeding money into an algorithm that never blinks. Veteran visitors notice the change instantly. They talk about it online. It used to feel like the dealer was rooting for you. Now it feels like the city itself is rooting against you. The laughter, the noise, the human connection, all fading under the hum of machines. And when humanity leaves, empathy follows. The Strip's new economics don't just affect tourists, they reshape the entire city. Walk a few blocks past the flashing billboards and you'll see tents pitched beneath overpasses, people sleeping near the same resorts that charge $50 for parking. Las Vegas now ranks among the highest U.S. metros for homelessness per capita, more than 6,500 residents, without stable shelter. Many once worked the very jobs that corporate downsizing erased. Crime edges upward, petty hustles grow bolder, and visitors sense it. The fantasy of safety and spectacle gives way to unease. You pay $9 for a coffee inside, step outside, and someone asks you for change. It's a jarring contrast, the illusion and the aftermath existing on the same block. Economically, the spiral feeds itself. As prices climb, tourists cut spending elsewhere. Fewer gamblers means smaller tips. Smaller tips mean fewer workers. Fewer workers mean worse service. And around it goes. The UNLV study from 2024 measured a 22% drop in visitor satisfaction on the Strip in just 5 years, and hidden fees ranked as the #1 complaint. In other words, greed is measurable now. Even entertainment, once the city's proudest export, is shrinking. Small comedy acts, magicians, and lounge performers, the heartbeat of affordable fun, are vanishing. Stages once packed nightly now sit dark while megashows charge hundreds per seat. The middle layer of Vegas culture, the spontaneous, let's catch a show, magic, is evaporating. What remains is a two-tier system, high-end spectacles for the rich and nothing for everyone else. And yet, through it all, the marketing keeps smiling, new slogans, new rebrands, promises of excitement that feel increasingly detached from reality. Visitors see through it now. The endless hashtags can't hide the empty tables or the quiet casino floors where machines outnumber players. Las Vegas isn't dying from lack of attention, it's dying from overexploitation. Every hidden fee, every markup, every automation choice squeezes a little more life out of the experience. You can almost feel it when you walk the Strip, a city running on borrowed magic. But here's the truth that cuts deepest. Vegas didn't have to end up this way. It was built on generosity disguised as glamour, cheap rooms, free drinks, low stakes, high hopes. The profit came from joy. When people felt valued, they spent more freely. When they felt cheated, they stopped coming. Somewhere along the line, the balance flipped, and the illusion of generosity was replaced by the reality of extraction. Economists call it drip pricing. Tourists call it robbery. Whatever the name, it's eroding the foundation that made Las Vegas unique. The city was never about luxury, it was about possibility. A place where the average person could live a fantasy, even if only for a night. Without that illusion, the lights are just lights. The numbers already show the reckoning ahead. Hotel occupancy falling despite rising rates, fewer drive-in visitors, and a shrinking share of repeat travelers. The more the corporations raise prices to chase lost revenue, the faster loyalty disappears. It's a textbook death spiral, one the desert can't hide forever. And so, what remains is a question every visitor must ask before booking that next trip: is Las Vegas still worth it? Is it worth the $50 parking, the $9 coffee, the endless surcharges dressed as resort experiences? Or is it time to let the city's myth rest and remember it for what it once was, a brilliant, imperfect experiment in fun that forgot who it was built for? Las Vegas didn't lose its magic overnight. It sold it, piece by piece, until nothing was left but receipts. The lights still glow, but they no longer invite, they warn. And until honesty replaces greed and service replaces automation, those lights will keep shining on a city that's already gone dark inside. Here are some future predictions based on data. If nothing changes, the Vegas of 2030 may look dazzling on the surface, but underneath, it will be a thinner, quieter, more divided city. Economists at UNLV already see the writing on the wall. If visitor satisfaction keeps falling at the current pace of roughly 4% a year, total tourist volume could drop below 35 million annually by the end of the decade, down from nearly 43 million before the pandemic. That's not a dip, that's an exodus. Corporate planners will respond the only way they know how, with more consolidation. The mega resort model will dominate, smaller casinos swallowed or shuttered, and the Strip will begin to resemble an airport concourse of identical luxury brands. By 2027, analysts expect three companies to control over 80% of the Strip's hotel rooms. Monopolies don't compete on price, they compete on marketing. The result? Flashier ads, steeper fees, fewer real bargains. Technology will accelerate the divide. Artificial intelligence pit bosses, digital bartenders, and robotic concierges are already being tested in prototype form. By the end of the decade, more than half of entry-level hospitality positions could be automated. For visitors, that means faster check-ins and fewer lines, but colder experiences. For locals, it means thousands of stable service jobs replaced by low-wage maintenance work or none at all. Economists call it productivity, residents call it disappearance. If the pattern continues, housing pressures will mount. A city built on tourism taxes can't sustain itself when room occupancy falls. With fewer visitors spending less, public revenue from resort taxes could decline by nearly a quarter, forcing cuts to transit, sanitation, and public safety. In neighborhoods east of the Strip, rents have already climbed 38% since 2020. Add another 5 years of stagnant wages, and homelessness could rise well past 7,000 residents, turning temporary encampments into permanent communities of the forgotten. But Vegas still has a choice. Some insiders believe the correction is already beginning. Off-strip properties in Henderson and downtown are quietly returning to basics: transparent pricing, free parking, real comps. Those hotels are seeing repeat guest growth even as the major resorts stall. If that local counter-revolution gains momentum, it could force the giants back toward fairness. A single viral success story about honesty can undo millions in glossy advertising about luxury. Travel behaviors, too, is shifting. The younger generation, Gen Z travelers raised on Reddit reviews and price comparison apps, are allergic to hidden fees. Surveys show 72% of travelers under 30 rank transparent total pricing as their top factor when choosing a destination. If Vegas refuses to adapt, emerging markets such as Reno Tahoe, Austin, and Phoenix will keep siphoning its weekend tourists. Even international alternatives like Cabo San Lucas and Vancouver, once far pricier, now look reasonable by comparison. And yet, all it would take to reverse the trend is a return to the fundamentals that once made Las Vegas unstoppable. Economists outline a simple path: introducing a citywide cap on resort and parking fees by bundling them transparently into posted room rates, creating tax incentives for employers who bring back human service positions instead of replacing them with machines, reviving mid-tier entertainment through municipal grants and tourism-funded subsidies, and aggressively reinvesting in local housing and transit to rebuild the workforce that keeps the lights on. If implemented, experts predict this model could restore hotel occupancy to about 90% within 3 years and raise real wages by nearly 15%. The math works. What's missing is the will to act. So, the future splits in two. Down one path, the Strip becomes a hollow museum of its former self: spotless floors, endless screens, and polite indifference. A place where visitors photograph the lights but never come back. Down the other path, Vegas remembers its soul: the handshake, the wink, the buffet line that felt like a family reunion. A city where value and fun mean more than quarterly profit. The next 5 years will decide which version wins. Maybe by 2030, the slogan won't be, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas." Maybe it will be, "What happened to Vegas could happen anywhere." Because the story of this city isn't just about gambling and neon, it's about what happens when a dream forgets the people who built it. If greed keeps writing the script, the ending is already set. But if honesty and hospitality make a comeback, Las Vegas might just pull off the greatest comeback of all. Not another illusion of luck, but a real chance at redemption.